Well, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, I should say, depending where you are. And thank you so much for joining us for today's 10,000 Coffees Office Hour webinar. Today, we're going to be talking all about computer science. So we're very excited to have some students and some new graduates here, many of which are computer science students as well. So this afternoon's webinar is part of our 10,000 Coffees virtual networking platform. I know that some of you joining us today are members of the platform and you might be familiar with these sessions, but basically they're just a way for us to gather together in a smaller group and talk about various different career fields with some alumni professionals. So for today, we're really excited to have an alum, Janet Lin, here with us, who's going to be sharing a bit about her career story. But before we get to that, I just wanted to go over a couple of quick housekeeping items for today. So some of you submitted some questions in advance, which we're going to get to at a Q&A period in the second portion of the event. For the first half, we will be hearing from Janet. She's going to talk to us a lot about her background at UNB, about the different careers that she's taken on in this space since graduating, and then we'll go into the Q&A period. So we are in meeting format today. So if anybody has questions, feel free to turn on your camera, turn on your mic, and you can ask Janet directly these questions during the Q&A. She'd love to have some interactive conversations with you. If you're not comfortable with this, the chat is also available if you did want to type in a question as well. So with all that said, it's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker today. We are so happy to have her here with us. We have Janet Lin, who graduated from UNB Computer Science in 2005. Janet is now the Vice President of Lending and Payments Technology with Equitable Bank. She spent 20 years of her career leading digital transformation, delivering innovative customer engagement technology in the Canadian retail, healthcare, banking, and payments industries. She's remarkable. She's been named as one of 100 most powerful women in Canada and numerous other awards, but I won't get into too much because I really want Janet to be able to share her story today. So thank you, Janet, so much for being with us. And I'm going to hand the floor over to you.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to thank UNB and Computer Science and yourself for having me today, and all of you, your time today to join me. Since I graduated in 2005, I have been working different industries and practice different technology and delivery and leadership, and also focusing on my passion to continue to recruit and develop women in technology. As we all know, there's not enough women in technology. So today I have the opportunity to share a bit of my journey with you and my experience. As this is today, it is a pretty small group. I actually love the format because when I do town halls, huddles with hundreds of groups, there's no way that we can actually have the interactions with each of you. I do want to let you know that I would encourage you to, have more active dialogue during the session, and feel free to chime in if you have any questions. Don't feel that you are interrupting me. So and just wanted to also make sure this session is for each of you. I would like to start with my journey, because for you to know a little bit about me, how I spent my last 20 years after my graduation from computer science will hopefully give you some hints and generate some questions that you can that resonates with you, and you can ask me to help your future growth. So that's the goal, right? Not just come to listen to a story, but how I can help you is my goal today. Hope you can, as you're listening, come up with some questions, and then so I can address that for you. Okay. So I'll start my story. I came to Canada in year 2000 as a international student. My memory was UNB in 2000, between 2000 and 2005 was very sweet memory. I did study bachelor degree of computer science. I also did 2 internship. So I think I finished my bachelor in 5 years, including a year of internship in between. So if you have the opportunity during your years of education to take on some internship or whatever you call, like to practice and get a little bit flavor of how technology, how you actually use technology in a company, in a real corporation, in any format, that will be super helpful before you decide, okay, which job I want to apply, which industry I want to go with. And in technology, we all know that the domain are so wide, right? There's software development, there's infrastructure, there's cloud, there's security, there's also delivery aspects. So many domains. So try, like, practice and have a taste of possibilities during your school, university time. That will be very valuable and meaningful to you before you actually entering into the workforce. So after I graduate, I traveled a few cities, but that was my personal experience, and I decided to stay in Toronto. And it took me a few months to find my first software developer job in Toronto. In a small marketing company, we developed, I was one of the developers for a CRM, a mini CRM module with outbound, inbound communications for small and medium business. And a year after I joined, that company was sold to a US company, and under the opportunity come, so I joined Loblaw / Shoppers and PC Financial in 2006. And then from 2006 to 2021, I stayed at Loblaw for 16 years. That is a very long period of time, like years, and it's almost 1/3 of my career time that I spent in one company. And when I look back, it is a great platform network. Just give you some context why I say that. Loblaw is the largest private employer in Canada. It has 200,000 colleagues. And when you hear Loblaw, you think it is the largest retail company with 2,400 stores across country, across all provinces. With the acquisition of Shoppers, it acquired the largest pharmacy retail chain in Canada, become largest retail and pharmacy retail chain. It also has many other businesses that Canadians might not aware. You hear the brand, but you might not connect those brands with Loblaw as a company. For example, in Ontario, we have No Frills, Canadian Superstore. There is 30 plus. There's Vaxies. There's other brands. Loblaw also has a bank. It's called PC Financial. I know that when I was in your grad student, I applied first credit card, open first PC Financial debit card in one of the superstore there. So my first job was creating the online MasterCard application for PC Financial. So that was the first generation of real-time online application. I think they are now at the maybe fifth generation. So that was my starting point of my career at PC Financial. I started as a software developer, programmed the first PC MasterCard online application. And I spent 10 years within that division of PC Financial. I can very proud to tell you that I did every single role in technology with that division. So first I started as software developer. In 1 or 2 years, I become a system designer. So you know the difference between your coding versus your writing specs, and work with developer, let them code. After that, I moved from designer to what we call system analyst at a time, application analyst, designer. I become a team lead, right? So that is a major jump in my career from an individual contributor. You manage a group of tasks to a manager, a team lead. Now you have to manage, I had to manage a group of people. And after the team lead, I actually get into more like delivery. So technology and delivery are slightly different. And I think for your growth, encourage you to get understanding both, no matter which area you want to grow. Delivery in the old methodology, what we call like a waterfall. So you write the requirements, you do design, you do coding, then you test. In the last 10 years, the majority of the delivery has been switched from waterfall to more agile delivery and customer-centric delivery that has the customer experience, human being experience in the center of your application, your design and your development of the application. So I did delivery, switch from a tech lead to a delivery function, and revamped the delivery methodology for PC Financial 3 times during that time, managed a portfolio of maybe 20 to 30 million annual. And the last job I did was PC Financial, switching from delivery to actually added operation to the delivery side. So that actually finished every possible technology rules within a small tier 2 bank. I end up reporting to the president of the bank before I move on to the retail side. So as Loblaw is such a great network, as part of the Shoppers and Loblaw acquisition, the leadership came to me say, now we are building the largest loyalty program for Canadians, PC Optimum. And before the acquisition from the retail Loblaw side and Shoppers, Loblaw has a loyalty program called PC Plus. I don't know if you are aware, you remember. On Shoppers side, Optimum Points has been like very popular for most of the Canadians. So leading that acquisition of the 2 loyalty program to become the largest loyalty program for 20 million Canadians, 70% of Canadian shops at a Loblaw Shoppers retail stores, by the way. They need somebody who knows how to protect customer information. And I was the one that they because I was running the bank, of course, from day one, that I need to protect customer PI information, right? So I was tapped on the shoulder to lead the birth of that PC Optimum program. I'm till today, I'm still super proud of accomplish that with the volume, the scale of the program, and being in Canada for 22 years, like I know every Canadian loves to play PC Optimum points. So I'm very proud of that, including myself. After I built PC Optimum, I ran it for 5 years, and I started to build this concept of consumer-facing technology. So PC Optimum, because we had 20 million customer on that platform, it's easy to leverage that huge network that we have established from the loyalty program, right? It becomes an engagement vehicle for Loblaw as a company with 20 million Canadians. If we wanted to introduce PC Express, PC Insider, PC House, all the other products from like the divisions, we start with PC Optimum, which is a fantastic platform opportunity, that foundation that we build. So I start to build those other PC products. I'm not going to go through each of them. During the pandemic, the needs for the healthcare surge, right? Digital healthcare. So we, the two things I did I'm very proud is we launched PC House, which is a digital health product, leveraging the 2,400 pharmacy stores to offer more community health care for Canadians in supporting like the government and the hospitals, because that time, like hospital has like huge pressure on their systems. So the other thing I'm still very proud is 3 years ago, I think all of us were still in the dark when COVID hit us. I think 12 months after that, we're still looking for vaccines to come out, right? So I had opportunity to work with the Ontario government, their CTOs and their health department to introduce and launch the vaccines. Like at a time, I don't know if you still recall, like there are many vaccines that's still in the government's consideration. So it was remarkable 4 to 5 months on daily multiple meetings with the government, the pharmacy community pharmacy really wanted to step up and help Canadians. So for that 4 or 5 months, I lead the team to establish the vaccine system, including like tracking and appointment booking, and guide the patients or customers coming to the pharmacy with the digital registration versus the traditional pen and paper. It will not work for COVID vaccine. So that was a few last thing I led the team to deliver before I decided to take on my next challenge, where I am today. I joined Equitable Bank at the end of 2021. And I've been there for a year and a half. My main focus is helping the business, the bank, to transform their lending business. Just some context and background for you. Equitable Bank is the 7th largest bank in Canada, managing 70 billion assets. With the acquisition of Concentra Bank at the end of 2022, it becomes seventh largest in Canada. We are a fully digital bank, meaning that there's no branch. That's what I'm excited about, being a challenger bank. Our mandate is to challenge the big banks for their financial services that takes a very long time to move money between banks, for example, and charge a lot of like fees for Canadians. So we have the challenger mindset to create more innovative financial products with no fee or low fees and much fast-paced service to satisfy Canadians' financial needs. So I'm helping the business to transform their lending, including the retail lending and commercial lending. Retail lending includes all the loans that offers to any Canadians, right, including mortgage or line of credit or reverse mortgage for senior citizens. And payments is my passion because I launched multiple credit cards before, but when I actually get into payments, there's a difference between credit cards and payments. Payments really means to me how we help Canadians to move money between individual to individual, peer to peer, peer to business, peer to government, business to business, banks to bank. What are the ways to move money and how can we move it with minimum charge real time? So I've been working with Payment Canada on their 10-year payments modernization program. Real-time rail is one like foundational infrastructure build that all the banks are working with Payment Canada to launch. This means that any money movement between individuals behind the scene, between the bank accounts will be all real-time money movement in transactions, but also real-time settlement behind the scene with the bank. So to me, it's a huge milestone for Canadians' payment industry. And we are, to be honest, in my mind, like 10 years behind Europe, 10 years behind US, 10 years behind some of the Asian countries. It's, we need to catch up. So those are my career, I would say key highlights. And in addition to my career, I have been focusing on two diversity aspects. One is help women in tech. When I was at Loblaw, I started this women in tech community from 5 women, and when I left, we grew that community from 5 to 500, and it was super successful, and it got attention from like many international companies. Like for example, McDonald International came to me, say, okay, they approached me from LinkedIn, say, we know that you are growing this community very successful. Can you share some of the insight? What is your governance? What is your framework? So we can, they don't need to build something from scratch. So I'm also now working with Equitable Bank, building like 2 diversity group. One is Women in Tech, continue building on my passion that I have been doing for the last 15 years. And another group I'm growing now is newcomers. I think the government is approving 500,000 newcomers in the next 4 years, right? And has been that the stat has not been changed since the last 4 or 5 years, and it's growing. So focusing on helping newcomers and as I came to Canada 22 years ago. So I actually lived many barriers and challenges in my last 22 years. So I wanted to, have that focus group and share my experience, not just but like the group's experience, and offer some resources, offer some helps for those groups, so they don't, they feel they are supported with some strong resources and network. In addition to those two diversity groups that I have been focusing on, I also spent a lot of time mentoring young generations, sitting the government's Information and Communication Technology Council of Canada, giving them advices. They launched the government launched a 3-year program because they realized that women in tech has been hugely hit during the pandemic. So they established the 3-year program. Year one was to getting the stats, really getting to know what was impacted for the women in technology during the pandemic. Year two is to come up with some toolkits, best practices via this advisory group. And year three is to offer this and broadcast and promoting this toolkits to small to medium companies who doesn't have the luxury to have those functions to build those principles in-house. So I'm going to pause. I wanted to hear your feedback, your questions.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Janet. It's really, really exciting to hear everything that you've done in your career. And it's particularly interesting when you talk about examples that many of us have used in our day-to-day life, like PC Optimum, and all the work that you've put into programs like this. And also very inspiring to hear the work that you're doing with women in tech and, young professionals in tech. I think there's a lot there that is very inspiring for the people who are online today. So let's jump into question period. We would love to hear from people. If you are open to turning on your mic and your camera. I know we had a question that was pre-submitted, I believe by Johannes, if you are comfortable speaking, about where to look for opportunities in computer science and what sort of opportunities are out there. I don't know, Johannes, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you want to jump in and speak, please feel free. Oh, they just wrote in the chat, not in the best location to open mic or camera right now.
That's fine.
They will be in a few minutes. Yeah. So I don't know if you wanted to maybe touch on that, Janet. They were just asking what sort of opportunities are out there in computer science and what are the best resources to sort of find these opportunities?
First of all, I think computer science is still for sure the future industry. Like technology is going to drive the innovation, is going to help the society to move faster, accelerate the society right towards the right direction. So like you are in the right domain. Like I look back, why choose computer science it is still the right choice. It is driving forward the whole society, and no matter which industry you are interested to go into, it could be financials, could be retail, could be healthcare, it could be beauty, every industry that requires technology, right? COVID like double, triple down that the statement that technology is here to enable all industry. A lot of the in-person business moved online during the pandemic, right? Even like working, you have to be in person in the past. Now, most of the work is like hybrid, not 100% remote, but not 100% in person, and that's not going to go back, right? So even in the healthcare, we're seeing like a lot of the remote healthcare providers, right? So every industry is now extremely empowered by technology, and that will accelerate in the next 5 to 10 years. So to answer your question, where to find those opportunities, I feel it's everywhere. Like technology, as I said, it's embedded in every industry, right? You don't have to, there's also technology companies like Microsoft, like Google, like Salesforce. There are like technology companies who's looking into like specific domains. Some of them are looking to hardware, software, data center, like every aspect of technology. But even in broader commercial industry, every industry needs technology. There's no industry that doesn't require technology today. So I feel you really need to decide like what you like to do, right? So, or if you don't have an idea what you like to do from the perspective of industry, then you can start with consulting, because to me, like going to consulting at early years of your career, that gives you the exposure to potential many clients or many industries, right? And then you have a taste of different industries, different clients, and then you can, after 3-5 years, you heavily practice your technology skill sets, and now you have explored many clients, many industries, and then you can decide, okay, this is the domain I wanted to grow deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Janet. I think, like you said, technology is here to stay. It's the fastest growing. It's part of every organization and field now. And so maybe that might make it overwhelming for people as they're trying to apply for jobs, because there's so many options in this space. But yeah, I think you gave some really good advice. And it kind of led into a question that I had for you, Janet, which is, what sort of skills do companies like Equitable Bank and Loblaw, where you've worked, what sort of skills do they value most in employees?
Yeah, this is a great question. If we look at the market, and when I say like market, let's look from a 20 years and a 50 years lens, right? What is always changing, and what is not changing, right? So to answer those questions will help us to understand what skills is important, what skill is the most important. What is changing? If you look at the lens of 20 to 50 years, the most popular programming language has been changed, right? It changed from like C to Java, now Python, JavaScript. Like things are changing in terms of the technical programming. Things are evolving. What is also changing in our hardware business, we used to have our on-premise data center. Now everything is moved to the cloud, right? That's also changing in the last, I would say 10 to 20 years. On the like delivery methodology deployment, now we are using more like automated deployment, DevOps, security DevOps, methodology are changing. What is not changing? What is not changing in the tech industry is the continuous change. That's not changing. So what is important to all of us in this rapidly changing industry is that we need to continue to learn. And this is not, I'm serious, right? I've been learning every day. I'm just very curious, right? For example, when in the last few years, the metaverse concept came out, it got me curious, right? Like why a virtual purse in metaverse is actually more expensive than a real purse. Like I just got so curious, right? It's not just technology, but like those new concept when it comes. And AR, VR, I was a pure VR conference for 3 days just to experience the difference, how that technology will evolve our workplace, like especially during pandemic when we are behind a screen, how we drive the team's engagement via new technology. When new things comes out, for example, the AI technology is evolving. Let's understand how does that work and how would that imply to each different industry, right? How does that imply to our education industry? People are now testing, like writing homework. How does that apply to the banking industry? Like it's just when things come out, one thing that we all need to keep, like that's the most important skill, is continuous learning. Continuous learning, stay curious, and self-learning, right? Because don't think, okay, after your school, it builds the foundational skills, right? It builds the concept of object-oriented language. It builds you the concept of infrastructure, builds some concept. But once you graduate from school, you got to keep yourself updated with the market, with the newest technology. There's the part that when you join your employer, let's say your bank or the law will help you to invest. Like they might offer you training, they might offer you go to the conference, but they will always have a limited budget for you to learn. However, like I feel because all the social media, because all the internet things that we don't actually need that much dedicated budget to learn. There's so many unlimited resources online that we, as long as we are willing to stay curious, willing to recharge ourselves, continue to learn. Like to me, that's the most important skills versus a JavaScript skills, or a very tactical, technical skills. Hope that helps.
I think that's great. Thank you, Janet. I think that piece of advice could be applied to a lot of different fields, but particularly computer science, as you said, where it's continuously changing and growing. What better way to stand out than to show that you're continuously learning all the different, skills and techniques. You sort of mentioned something that leads into another question that was pre-submitted. It was pre-submitted by Terrence, who I believe is on this call. I'm not sure if he wants to speak, but he asked, how do you see AI like ChatGPT and Bing changing the industry for computer science professions in the future?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know if you read Bill Gates, the latest note. Like the note says there's 2 disruptive technology in his lifetime, and he's the greatest tech strategist I've seen. The first disruptive technology was when in the 1970s, when the first a guy's name called Charles went to him with an operating system has a user front-end face, which becomes our Windows operating system. That was the first disruptive technology and becomes the core foundation of Microsoft. The second disruptive technology, he called it, is the ChatGPT, that he has been seeing this OpenAI company since 2016. So they started a partnership, and he was amazed. He thought there was some technical problem he threw to them in the late 2022, and he thought will take them a few years to solve, but it took them a few months to solve. So he was very amazed and proud of that OpenAI company and the group of people there. So back to your question, how I think the ChatGPT will impact I'll answer into two ways. Number one is how that will impact our industry in general, and then how that will impact computer science field. In my mind, it's as Bill Gates, like our greatest technologist in this planet, has claimed, like, this is a very disruptive technology. It does show the power of how much the machine can learn and mine the data to replace like a lot of human thinkings and human behaviors. So the reaction in the market is, first, people are wowed, right? A lot of people are amazed, including myself. Second, a lot of industry people, they are start to think, okay, what does that mean to my job, right? Do we still need the data analytics and scientists? Do we still need a lot of the business operational job? Do we still need people who pulling the data, doing those analytics? And do we, in the marketing, in the operations, in every aspect of the business industries, people start to thinking, okay, what does that mean to my job with this amazing, like this technology seems can do a lot of the work that human being is doing today. To computer science field, to me, it's a great news, because we can like think about the history of the 100 years or more than 100 years, right? Technology is always in like every 5 years, there comes like very innovative, disruptive technology to help the whole society, the human being, to become more like moving, accelerate the work in more modern way. So what that means is people can actually save their day-to-day time to do their day-to-day job, but use their resource and capacity to do more meaningful and the job that needs the human touch, right? So repeatable work can be replaced, and repeatable thinking can be replaced by the analytics, the AI machine learning technology. But there will be job that requires like human in-person touch, requires the in-person collaboration and networking. That's where I think those people, when they have capacity, they can move in more meaningful jobs, not the repeatable jobs, right? So to me, it's great news. Technology should always evolving. Technology should always help free up human being capacity and resources, and that's what technology is for, right? That's the power of technology. If we are not coming up new ways, then we are not moving forward. So I think it's great news for technology. Tactically, it might mean that, the companies, AI companies may attract more venture capital into that industry, because now they see a tangible outcome from the investment of AI, right? So it will be more jobs. I know that OpenAI is hiring a lot of ex-Googlers, ex-Microsoft, Salesforce, all the other tech giant people are going to that company, but it's not just one company, right? Google is coming up with competitive technology. Like that domain will become very hot in the next few years with a lot of money, capital investment. But it's a good thing for us, right? In technology, that means like more opportunities, more jobs. Eventually, the outcome of the investment will, return all the good things back to the corporations, to the society.
It's a really interesting conversation. Thank you, Terrence, for submitting that question. I'm not sure if you wanted to jump in. I think your status says you're driving, so you might not be able to. But thank you for that. I'll just pause here for a second in case there is anybody who wanted to jump in and ask a question. Turn off their mic and ask a question. Is there anybody? Lindsay, I think.
Hello.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello. First of all, I wanted to say it's been really good listening to you talk. What you've done is so cool, and it really is motivation for women in tech. My question is about trying to get into the job market as like a junior Python developer interested in healthcare machine learning. A lot of the jobs are looking for like intermediate senior level. So what is something besides the obvious like GitHub composition, like something that a junior developer can do to kind of get the attention and possibly get one of those more interesting jobs rather than something that's a bit monotonous?
So your question is, as a new grad, have you graduated? Or are you going to graduate?
I'm about to graduate.
Okay. So as a new grad, you don't have working experience in the field. And you see in the market, most of the jobs are looking for intermediate senior position. How do you get into the market?
Yes.
I think there are a few options. Have you done like co-op or internship?
Yes, I worked with a software company for about 8 months doing data conversion. So
okay, so you have some hands-on practice,
right? But nothing with healthcare, and that's definitely where like my interests are.
Right. But I will say that as a data analyst or data scientist, the primary skill they are looking for is your technology data skills versus the healthcare. I know healthcare because I also touched a bit during my shoppers days. I know healthcare has different regulations than retail, than banking, because the PHI information they have patient information. However, there are basic regulations that you might want to like self-study to understand the basic regulations. I know they have like a couple in Canada that the data has to be residing in Canada. And there are some healthcare data format standards that you might want to get yourself educated with those healthcare special standards or requirements. But other than that, healthcare is no different than retail, like from a technology and data perspective. Data is data. How you mine the data, how you getting the information you want from the data sets works the same regardless of how like different industries. So with your 8 months hands-on practice, I would encourage you to, apply at least when you see the intermediate roles, apply for them. Don't, like, if the market doesn't have junior roles, apply for the intermediate roles with your 8 months experience. Of course, like before the interview, you got to get yourself prepared for those healthcare regulations and data formats that, when you go to interview, you are, you demonstrate your passion as well as your knowledge in healthcare.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's great to have some live questions.
And one other thing I want to offer, Lindsay, like because I know a lot of the data science team at Shoppers. They have a lot of PHIs and they have lots need. They're growing their data practice. If you wanted to share your resume offline with me, I can share your resume with my contact at Shoppers, if you like.
That would be lovely. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you, Janet, for offering that. Was there anybody else here who wanted to ask a live question? I don't know, Johannes, if you were in a better space yet. Oh, there he is. Perfect.
How's it going? Yeah, I had a few questions. So I had one on cybersecurity, learning tips, and entrepreneurship. But I think maybe the one that's most relevant to everybody here, maybe the one that could benefit us all, is if you could dive a bit more into, you mentioned that learning and being and adapting to constant change is probably the most important skill for people in computer science and software engineering. That's something I've heard often, and hearing you repeat that just emphasizes it more to me. So I was wondering if you could dive a bit deeper and maybe give us a bit more tips on how to ensure that we learn quickly and optimally, and maybe give us some like concrete tips on that, if that makes sense. Or is it just stay curious and like try to figure things out? Like if something new comes out, look into it, try stuff out at home, that kind of thing? Or is there like specific stuff you can share?
Yeah, I'll answering to different categories. So there's the category that like something new come up in the industry that it will be good for everybody to understand. For example, like they can be and this understanding can be very high level. For example, when ChatGPT come up, okay, you want to understand. When metaverse comes up, you want to understand. And I'll give you a technology example. When the concept of container came up, right? I actually, even though I'm not in the business of infrastructure, I took the effort to sit down with somebody who's the expert, at least to understand that concept. But like, I'm not hands-on to build containers, and I don't suggest you be that hands-on to build each of the new technology, right? But that, I think that's the category, like when a new concept comes up, as a technology strategist, all of us are, we want to understand, have some high-level understanding of, okay, what does that mean? So when somebody talks about containers, when somebody talks about Microsoft Power Apps, so right, those are the new technology that comes up in the market. As technologists, we want to understand the concept. So that's to keep up in the market. Like that's concept number one. Number two is if something comes up that impact what you are doing, then you need deep dive, right? So if you are in in software development, right? And then a new language comes up, or if you're using, let's say, JavaScript, right? A new version or new something comes up that significantly, or Log4j, let's say Log4j, like that was a big bug that comes out that impacts everybody, huge impact on the security vulnerabilities. Then as it's impact our day-to-day job, then you really need to dig very deep on, okay, what do we need to do? What are the mitigations, right? What are the reviews I need to do? So it's good to know, keep yourself to the market as the technology strategist. And the second one is if something that comes up impacts your day-to-day life, then you really need to dig deep because that's your domain. Right, because that first one will keep you to the market, and you might not feel it's that relevant to yourself, but long term, this is building your future. Building your future, when somebody like at interview, they talk to you about cybersecurity, you have the knowledge. They talk to you about DevOps, you have the knowledge. You know, like eventually, when you grow to that senior level, you want to have knowledge on high-level knowledge on all the technology domains, but that's you're building for your future, right? That's building for your future growth. The second category is really your day-to-day work. You want it to be crystal clear. You want to be the expert in your current domain, that every single thing that comes out that impacts your day-to-day life, you got it to be on top of it.
That makes sense. Thanks. I had a couple more questions, but I'll let other people ask if they have questions of their own.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Did anybody else want to jump in with a question? We just have a couple minutes left. Oh, okay, yeah. I see. Is it Faisy?
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I have a question. I'm studying electrical engineering that involves some computer science concepts, and I have a little background in that area in my master's degree, and now I'm studying PhD. But I was worried about finding a job in computer science since I see that the advertisements are looking for more computer science graduates, and I wanted to know that how can I get involved in projects in computer science?
Right. So don't get too hung up on the major, to be honest. Like when you apply for a job, can you do the job? That's the major question. And also, as long as like as a employer, I look at more importantly the soft skills versus the technical skills. And do you have 100% of technical skills today, or can I give you an opportunity if you have the right attitude, you have the right soft skills, like learning skills? Can I offer you an opportunity even you have only 60 to 80% of technical skills today for that job? That's what I'm looking for. So don't be too hung up on your, like, I don't have a computer science degree, but I want to apply for a computer science job. That shouldn't be a barrier for you to apply for a computer science job. And I still think like right now, the job market has been slowing down a bit from 2 years ago, but I still believe like tech is very on demand. So if you think you can do the job, like depends on what they are looking for, right? If they are looking for somebody to write a script, or if you believe you can do the job, you should apply.
Thank you. And another question was that if I want to apply for an internship program, can I do it, for example, 6 months earlier or one year earlier? What is an appropriate time to do that?
You mean 6 months or 1 year earlier before you graduate?
Yes.
I think either way, like depends on your plan. 6 months before your graduation or a year before, either way should work, right? The key is to, getting your hands dirty, get your feet dirty before you actually, then you have a bit time to digest and think before you entering to the official workforce, right? So either way would work.
Yes, I mean, from the point of view of an employer, do you prefer to have an internship opportunity for students who are near to the graduation, or if they want to be in the company for their future job?
Oh, that's what you mean. I think to me, I actually offered a third year student a job, a offer letter before, and then before she graduated, she went back to school, finished her 4th year, and then she come for the job. So if you wanted to like stay with the employer that you were doing internship and co-op with, I think most of the employer will like that. If I have a student on my team who's been lovely, amazing, and one thing as a student, I want to encourage you, like small tip for you, right? To come up with initiative. Don't do the work based on what manager asks you to do. Come up with ideas, and like with your fresh eyes and ideas and the newest technology you learn, you see, like taking your initiative with ideas to your leadership, proposing something to them. And as an employer, if I'm very happy, impressed by the students' work, I would love to keep the students.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. So I am just wary of time, Janet. I don't know if you wanted to stick around to answer a couple more questions, or we can certainly put you in contact if you're open to it with some of the people that had outstanding questions.
I'm so happy that we have lots of questions.
I know, it's amazing.
Okay, I can take one more question. And if you Lindsay, like share me your resume, I'll share, like I'll take a few actions, but like feel free to reach out from LinkedIn if you have any individual questions.
Perfect. I believe it was Johannes who had an extra question. Johannes, were you still able to speak and maybe ask that one about soft skills just before we sign off?
Yeah. So when you were answering Faizi's question about generally, and then you mentioned that when it comes to what employers look for, soft skills is probably what you would focus on most instead of the technical background. So I was wondering, could you explain like what kind of soft skills specifically? You mentioned learning. Is that just the sole focus that maybe we should have, learning capacity, or are there other important soft skills that we should work on developing?
There are more learning, like more than just continuous learning and self-learning. Like self-learning will keep you on track on your domain skills, right? That's one. But I think also as we are working with people in a company, so whether no matter you work for the government or you work for a bank, a retail company, or small marketing company, you're working with people, right? And traditionally, tech, there's always I don't want to say friction between tech and a business, because you want to do the right thing. You think this is right investment, but business always comes with, okay, here's the money, here's the deadline, right? So I think another very important soft skill is how, as this might not be applicable for beginning of your career, but as you grow, more interpersonal skills and helping them to understand each other, right? So when business say, I only have $10, I wanted to deliver tomorrow or yesterday, right? And you, what we as tech, how we understand what they are asking, understand what they want to achieve, but come up with options. Like this is like more negotiation and understanding and knowing that we have one shared goal for the company and to do the best for our customers, coming up with options to offer with the business, say, okay, I understand your constraints. Here's my option one. This is my proposed MVP. It can help you to achieve your short-term goal, but we are like, can we deprioritize XYZ for the next phase? You know, it's about like understanding and propose things to negotiation, like to negotiate with the business to land in a balanced outcome that satisfy the business need, but also doesn't overpromise, but doesn't, create huge technical debt on the tech side. So like technical skills, keep yourself updated. And then as you grow into the leadership role, into more working with the business, if that's what you want to do, interpersonal skills, communication, collaboration, and negotiation, inferencing, those are the skills that you will need.
That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I wish I could ask more, but maybe we'll we'll find some other way if that's possible to ask more questions, or maybe you'll join us again for another office hours.
Thanks so much. Yes, Janet, do you mind if people connect with you on LinkedIn after the session if they do have questions?
Welcome, everybody.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, to all of our participants today for the great questions. I love that it was interactive, that we got to hear from you. And of course, to you, Janet, thank you so much for spending this time with us. It was amazing. We're so appreciative of our alumni like you for giving back and for lending your advice and your career experiences. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Reach out anytime. If you're looking for a job, I know all of you are smart people. Send me a resume if you need help. Okay.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Janet. I hope everyone has a great day.
Bye.